So here's where we're at. Someone put out an anti-Marianne Buttenschon. This is in the assembly race, the assembly seat currently held by Anthony Brindisi. Somebody put out a direct mail piece.
Somebody?
Well, the word is somebody. I don't think, based on media reports and on the response of Chris Salatino, I don't believe they're denying that they put the direct mail piece out. Am I correct with that?
Right.
All right. And Marianne Buttenschon, her campaign has put out a response to the direct mail piece. And the direct mail piece gets into Marianne, the fact that she's a Democrat, but I believe she's also taken the conservative line, the conservative endorsement. So for Democrats, boy, that's a yin and yang going on here. That's what the other side is saying. So they're saying that Salatino's campaign violated New York State election law when they put out a direct mail piece and did not include a paid for by Salatino for assembly or somebody. The fact that there was no paid for disclaimer means they violated New York State election law. We dug in on this, kind of thought we had an answer yesterday, but still weren't sure based on the language. So Jeff did reach out to the New York State Department of Elections, the Board of Elections. I didn't handle any of this. This is all you, so take it away.
Yeah, 100%. Bill was not involved in this. So
thanks for that, Jeff.
I just wanted to, just in case there's any criticism of, this was something that I reached out on. So anyway, when I reached out to the Chief Enforcement Counsel, there was a little, while I can't speak to that case, I can't confirm or deny that we've received a complaint because candidate Buttenschon had said she filed a complaint. We couldn't get anywhere with that, so then I asked some follow-up questions specifically, not I should say in general, not specific to this case, but that involved elements of this complaint. Was told I'm not going to answer any questions, so I was referred to someone. Here was the answer I got. This is from the Deputy Director of Public Information for the state BOE. Her name is Cheryl Kuser, I believe.
Okay.
New York State election law does not require a sponsor or payer's name to appear on any political advertisements, in parentheses, paid for by, with the exception of independent expenditures of $1,000 or more. A single authorized candidate committee is not required to provide for attribution of campaign advertisements. That's what we were told.
So I'll get back to the independent. That would be an independent group outside the campaign, because it's saying the candidate would not have to or the campaign would not have to.
But it says with the exception of independent expenditure. So I believe an independent expenditure is, as an example,
maybe someone else paid for it.
That I'm running for office and Andrew's running for office, and I don't have a candidate. I don't have an opponent. So I have $100,000 in my account. I'm going to give Andrew $4,000 for his account because he needs it because he has a challenger. I believe that's an expenditure on my part, donating to his campaign. I think that would never happen.
Your campaign would never give to his campaign if you were going against him.
No, I shouldn't say going against him.
I think an independent contribution would be someone who is independent of the campaign who makes a contribution. So that might fall in line with in-kind contribution.
But this is independent expenditure.
Expenditure.
Yeah. So,
which I believe is actually there's a definition of it.
The expenditure, that would be the expenditure by the campaign.
In elections in the U.S. is a political campaign communication that expressly advocates for the election or defeat of a clearly identified candidate that is not made in cooperation, consultation, or concert with or at the request or suggestion of a candidate. Candidates authorized. Oh, geez, I didn't get the whole.
Yeah, are you on a state site or are you on a federal? Well, then it doesn't even apply.
But what they're saying is
the paid for applies to federal, not state. State races.
Correct. I think
so. The answer. Okay.
What an actual independent expenditure is.
Okay. Well, then get right to the point.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It expressly advocates for the election or defeat of a clearly identified candidate that is not made. Oh man, this is a long definition.
Well, keep going. You're into it now.
Not clearly identified candidate that is not made in cooperation, consultation, or concert with, or at the request of suggestion of a candidate, candidate's authorized committee or political party. If a candidate, his or her agent, his or her authorized committee or party, or an agent for one of these groups becomes materially involved, the expenditure is not independent.
if a candidate. So then this is not an independent expenditure.
Correct.
All right. So, but again, some of these explanations, you really need an attorney to decipher through it.
Micah, help.
But here, it basically clearly states the candidate or campaign in New York State for a state race is not required to do the paid for. Now, so you might ask the question, well, why? If the state's saying you don't have to do it on a direct mail piece.
It says here any political advertisement.
Correct. So the state's saying radio doesn't have to do it, TV doesn't have to do it, but the FCC, which guides us and TV, radio and TV, requires it. So while the state doesn't require it, the feds require it for radio and television, but not for anything else.
So, for instance, a billboard.
We are so regulated, radio and TV, so regulated compared to any other form of communication.
So there. That's the answer, by the way. So he
not in violation.
Not in violation. So,
and I think we remember when this came up during a campaign, a local campaign a few years ago. Flyers were being put out, and it might have been what's his name, the entrepreneur who owns apartments and was running for mayor or comptroller, Ernie Sanita. It might have been like stuff Ernie Sanita was putting out,
the entrepreneur.
People were like, you can't do that. There's no disclaimer on there. And I remember back then it was deemed not a violation back then. So I pretty much knew that was the case. But at the same time, so there isn't a violation. Now, the campaign, Buttenschon's campaign, could come out and say, well, it might not be in violation, but it is unethical. We feel it's unethical. That's probably the approach they should have taken. What Salatino's people are saying, and again, full disclosure, I do media work. I'm not involved in any of this. Haven't been in any meetings in any of this. I have no information except for I received a copy of the direct mail piece. What they're saying is Buttenschon should know election law. If she doesn't know election law, how's she going to go to Albany to make laws? So you've got both sides kind of throwing jabs at each other. But in terms of election law, not breaking the law.
No, not in New York State.